Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 347. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by my companion, Charlie Carden. Cha, 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 kill, kill, kill.
The merchant. Why you gotta kill me? I'm trying to merchandise. Look at these beautiful shirts.
Killer merch, Charlie. Killer merch.
Oh, killer merch. Right. Yes. Merch to die for. I have this new mug I got, but the imprinting. This was not brilliant. This is from Roke Brewing, which is in Royal Oak through Dark Horse and Marshall, which is my favorite place. It was for Roketoberfest, but they put it on the side and in black. So it's like, whose brilliant marketing idea was that? It's just a mug. Come on!
Who knew that you would be drinking beer in a beer mug, Charlie? Nobody.
You're right. I don't otherwise know what it's for. Maybe I'll grow a plant in it. I don't know.
There you go. Drinking milk. Drink milk out of it, Charlie. There you go. That's the
milk.
plan. Yes.
Milk's
So this is week 4 of Shocktober. It's going to be a fun time. We've got a lot of fun geeky stuff to talk about this week. So I think we just jump into this with our comic book, Charlie.
Woo! And this was we're back on the DC kick. I'm guessing, judging by the cover price, this is it actually says right in there. I shrunk it so that it would be easier to have it in the flow, but I can look up top. It says number 347, 75 cents. I'm squinting. July of 90?
No, it's 86.
July of 86. There we go. Okay. July of
85. It's hard to read.
Well, I shrunk it back down. So anyway, Flash is standing in front of a bunch of heads, one of which has a great handlebar mustache, saying, "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my life is in your hands." But it's kind of weird with the top to bottom with the green. Are they Green Lanterns? Is that what's going on here?
No. So it was funny because we're getting to the end of a lot of comics with their like Flash and other comic books after Crisis. They started renumbering.
Right.
So we're getting to the end of a lot of these comics. So Flash is getting close to being close to time for Crisis. So it's going to start renumbering again. And one of the biggest moments in the original Flash. Now, this is not the original Flash, Jay Garrick. This is Barry Allen before the other Flash came in. Basically, your Silver Age Flash, who died in Crisis. Spoilers, sorry. But in this storyline was a kind of a first for a comic to do a long running arc about a hero on trial for killing a villain. He killed the Reverse Flash.
Ouch. So did he reverse bring him to life?
No. So I believe it was a ploy, and he finally got out of it. But it was a long, it was taking over his life, and it was just this big thing. And yeah, it was kind of cool at the time that it happened. But yeah, the Flash really never had. I really say that the Flash from that era, this was probably his shining moment, and then Crisis. And then you had to get to the era after. It's like the Jeff Johns era where he really reinvented the Rogues Gallery of Flash, where you got kind of his take on Captain Cold, who, you saw that in the take of the Flash's Rogues villain, were what the Flash TV series used. The kind of more taking the villains and giving them a little more to them, made a lot more human. And call them the Rogues. Yeah, so it was
not
very
making
cool.
them quite so one-dimensional. Well, that is cool, and this is available on DC Infinite if you so choose to dabble, I would imagine.
Yeah. This was DC's 50th anniversary. So you think about it, wow. We're now 40 years later, or 30 years later. Yeah.
Exactly. So, this will be an episode that is dominated by talking about DC Comics, including the Flash. So, without further ado, let's not dink around. Let's go visit our senior news correspondent down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine. We are, of course, talking about Madam Web with Madam Web's Rumors and News.
Now it's time for Madam Web's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Well, as Charlie said, it's all things DC this week. And Madam Web, I do believe you submitted a story to Jim. So it would have been Denny O'Neil back in the day. You said, I've got this great character. Her name's Madam Web. She does all things cool. She seduces her victims with the smell of Ben Gay and Geritol. She included a sexy pic, Charlie.
Oh, that's what killed the deal. There's no doubt.
It killed the project. It killed the project. So sorry, Madam Web.
Totally toast. Ouch. Well, we leapt right into over the weekend, and I will admit I wasn't really eyeballs glued to the YouTube channel. I must have been doing something else. But overall, DC isn't my super duper jam, but I definitely fall in lockstep with things related to. Oh, you know what I was. It happened at night. The Batman trailer happened tonight, and I was not home.
No, it happened during the day. It was at 11 to 3 or 4, Charlie.
Oh,
so
I thought the Batman trailer dropped later. That well, it shows you what I know. But anyway, yeah, DC Fandome, not to be confused with Stephen King's Under the Dome, which
or the Thunderdome.
Obviously, it's easy to get confused about those things. Gave us some killer trailers. A trailer for the Batman, Black Adam, the Peacemaker television series. A video game, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Is that a video game?
It is, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Gotcha. So we're not talking about it. And some other stuff. There was a BTS, a behind the scenes thing about Aquaman, which we kind of skimmed over. But yeah, Todd, those are the big ones. We sat and we knocked out all those trailers. And obviously the big enchilada is the Batman. This would be Robert Pattinson or Rob Bat, if you prefer, which I do prefer, the sparkly Batman. So what did you, as a diehard DC, more so than me, or just overall comic book fan who's always read Batman, what did you think?
We got that teaser a while ago, and I really dug the feel of it. And they are definitely going for a different tone. This is Matt Reeves, who did the Planet of the Apes reboot. So a quality filmmaker, and man, I just love the tone of this film. It feels grittier in a different way than The Dark Knight. We are getting multiple villains. We are getting Selena Kyle, Batwoman or Catwoman. We are getting the Penguin. We are getting the Riddler. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to get anyone else in this. We've got Jim Gordon. It's going to be a unique movie, and it looks like more like a year one, so similar to Christian Bale, but in a different tone. It seems like we're going to get more of a detective Batman. We saw a better look at his vehicle, which looks like a Camaro or a muscle car, which was kind of
it was kind of a little bit like a Ghost Rider scenario going down, almost.
Yeah, and then we get we get a really iconic scene where Batman is taking out some thugs who look like they're clown inspired. So I'm not sure if there's something to grab from there, but you just see the brutality he attacks them with, and he's scaring the poop out of these other thugs, which is kind of his intent. He is one who likes to scare and inspire fear, because that is a weapon he uses as a dark crusader. And I just like the tone. I like the way it looks. We got a better look at the Riddler, which is definitely a different look than we ever did. He almost looks like he's in like S&M gear, which is different.
Yeah. Subsequently, I scheduled a social media post for the group of just a photo, because the merch is already knocking out, and that Riddler just looks like a guy in a weirdo, like you said, S&M. It's like a green version of the gimp suit. Didn't care for it. Obviously, they got to do different things, but to take the Riddler out of his classic fancy green suit, I don't dig on it. But and that's Paul Dano doing that role. Maybe he's going to bring something to it that is a little bit more menacing than Jim Carrey.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right, Charlie? You've got to do something a little different. Like we saw Heath Ledger play the Joker. He looked different. We got Two-Face, who looks completely horrific in The Dark Knight. So we'll see what they do. I mean, I don't think what we're seeing is everything. We saw
surely
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know how long this movie will be. If it's like playing into most superhero films these days, they're like 2 hours plus.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, but
exactly.
Yeah, but Selena Kyle as Catwoman, she looks really good. And we have Andy Serkis as a younger version of Alfred, probably the youngest version with Batman we've seen in a long time. So he could be very capable of something kind of like the Alfred from Gotham. So I'm all in for this. I mean, I'm going to be blown away. And we saw the schedule of DC movies for next year. It's a killer, man.
Definitely looking better than the slate of Marvel films for 2022, which is in jeopardy. That was a late breaking story. I don't know if we're really going to touch upon that.
We can probably throw that one at the end.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so that's about it. So we had a behind the scenes for Shazam. We had a nice teaser for
let's talk about let's talk a little bit about these. So Shazam behind the scenes, because there's something with them. It's just not there. I mean, they are going deep into the gods. This one, they're going to go there. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are in this. They play basically goddesses. They're showing mythological beasts. They're really laying down that the Shazam family, Captain Marvel family, is going to be all in on this. And they talked about they've redone the suits. They've got a bigger budget. They can do bigger things because the first Shazam was done kind of on a smaller budget and really pulled it off. The tone was really cool. So it was a surprise. It was one of those highlights in DC's movies, and I'm glad it's coming back. So that one's coming.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Black Adam, and again, this was kind of a BTS because it was a teaser, but the cast that they got going for this, I mean, Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate. You have Hawkman. You have a lot of other name-ish characters that I've heard of, but those were the two that really stood out to me the most that were kind of really well known.
They're going
more. Yeah, you might know more.
Yeah, they're going into the JSA. So Atom Smasher is a character that grows and gets big. He's very strong. There was one character, Cyclone. She's kind of a B tier character. They really haven't used before. So it was an odd idea to bring her in versus some of the other characters that are a little more iconic. But there was a lot of just voiceover. But what they did show with the footage that was finished. This is a different type of movie. I mean, you've got Black Adam, who essentially was a leader of a country called Kahndaq, and he did everything in his power to defend his people. And his powers were removed from him by Zeus. Mm-hmm. He was hinted at in the last Shazam film. Right. And basically, you see these explorers or mercenaries walk into this tunnel. They end up, unfortunately, you see this crown that when they come in, they actually reactivate some type of power that brings Black Adam in. And the first thing he does is he grabs a guy as they're shooting him. He actually catches one of the bullets, which I thought was really cool. Right. Grabs one of the guys, uses his he basically has electrical powers as well, and just turns the guy into a skeleton. That was very effective without saying a word.
My. Yeah, for sure. And again, bringing in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to rock this deal. He's a modern day Arnold Schwarzenegger for me, who for me when I was a kid was every one of those movies was kind of must see. You know, I enjoyed them whether they were great, whether they were terrible, whether they were somewhere in the middle. I just enjoyed what he did. So I have I'm very excited for this one. I would say kind of looking at the slate. The thing that I'm the most excited about, I don't want to skip over the Peacemaker, but I'll jump in at least talking about the teaser for the Flashpoint. I don't know if they gave it a name. That's the one that jams for me because we're very clearly getting back Michael Keaton as the 1989 Batman, or they certainly danced around it. We got a lot of quick cuts where we saw Ezra Miller, who was dressed kind of strangely in a jean jacket, vest, and dog collar when he was in.
He's the weird dude. That's all I'll say. He's just a weird dude.
And he was a little toxic with some kind of incident he had last year, as I remember correctly. But anyway, regardless, he's a little weird. So I'm trying to divorce the actor from the character because I thought he did a very quirky Barry Allen in the Justice League. I enjoyed the portrayal, but it really looks like this movie, at least what we've seen from this trailer, is going to be about Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne Batman and Barry Allen kind of going through the motions of Flashpoint, where obviously Barry Allen's trying to save his mother's life, but much like the what if that we saw recently with the Doctor Strange trying to save his love who dies, it fractures reality and all this crazy stuff is happening, which is why we end up with an older Batman from a different movie franchise. So we're getting a serious hint of that 89 Batmobile. He's flipping the light switch to turn on the lights in the Batcave, which would be an iconic reveal that they don't do because, again, sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? You want to give us just enough to keep us motivated. So, yeah, I would say, yes, The Batman with Rob Bat definitely that's headline. No, that's headlines, but I think The Flash would be the second most exciting thing I think to come out of this, which is again tied back to Batman.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much that is part of it, or if it's just like a little bit of it and it's not the main piece. Flashpoint is all about the Flash, once again, trying to save his mother, which basically fractures reality. And you did see multiple Barrys. I don't know if you saw that in the thing. So different Barrys from different time periods. We already had this Barry crossover with the CW Flash. So we do know that the universes are part of one bigger, 52 worlds, and they all have a different Flash and different things going on. So very cool. And yeah, Thomas Wayne was a big part of Flashpoint, who was Bruce Wayne's father. He survived, Bruce did not. And he became more of a dark Batman, more of a black and red suit, and used a gun.
My. So cool. So Peacemaker, Todd. This was the fun one. I like this. You saw the
absolutely.
You saw the Suicide Squad film, obviously, because we talked about it here on the show. I saw it. I think I saw it twice because we went to go see it in the theater, and then I watched it again on HBO Max to get prepared. And yeah, Peacemaker is he was a wild card of a character, comedic yet darkly patriotic, like trying to do the right thing but still kind of being an asshole. And John Cena is someone that I've kind of come to, and I don't do, it's funny because I was just talking about Dwayne Johnson. I don't do wrestling stuff, but I kind of enjoy him in the same way I enjoy, Dwayne Johnson. He's just, movies that he does are kind of fun. And it feels to me like he's done more comedic stuff. Like he's done, he did a movie with Amy Schumer when she was big, which she's not anymore. And he did the stepdad or stepdaddy or stepdaddy, whatever that thing is, with Mark Wahlberg. And he was in one of the Fast and Furious movies, because hasn't everybody been in one of those? I think I was in one of those. I don't even remember. I don't know. Was I in the sixth one? Wasn't I a guy on the
You were in the prequel that was never released.
Oh, I think I got ran over by a car in that one. My life was a quarter mile at a time.
Little Furious. It was called Little Furious.
No, not Little Furious. So
Little Furious, yes.
This looks like fun. Obviously, we know that Peacemaker survived. Sorry. And then he goes on to become basically a one-man Suicide Squad merc, as he's hired by some mysterious major domo. You also get to meet his dad, who is Robert Patrick, who thinks his son is a total disappointment. So it just looks like a romp, like it's going to be fun. That's going to be on HBO Max later this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was an interesting character to do the spin-off of, which was kind of fun. And, spoilers if you watch the movie, but, this is a character we didn't expect to come back, but we knew that the spinoff was happening, so it was like, okay, it's kind of hard to hide something like this. But yeah, a lot of fun. He gets hugged by a bald eagle. I mean, you got another character named Vigilante, which he is known for his suit that looks like he's going out to ski. But he's a killer as well. He's
a killer skier.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm hoping they put a lot of B tier and C tier villains in this just for fun. Just kill them, because you know what? That's what it's all about. Kill a lot of these villains that are in the Who's Who guide. Pick out copy volume 3D and look at it and go, oh, okay, that guy. Kill him. Yes.
Exactly correct. Well, let's see here. We could keep expounding about DC Fandome, but I would say yes, the Aquaman BTS, which we skimmed.
Yeah, so not much there. I would say there's not much to talk about that, but they did show that as well. They did show some new storylines in comics, which are pretty cool. Wonder Woman's getting an event since 1990. I'm
going to have to go, and that is coming out this week. I'm going to have to, whoops, that made my watch go off. I'm going to have to go pick one of those up from Randa. She's a huge fan. I'm still trying to get her into reading comics, so I'm going to get her this one. It's 100 pages. 100 pages, what, $10? I'll put it on her bill.
Something like that. Yeah, so... Yeah, Milestone has an event. We're getting they're also getting an animated movie, which is kind of cool with Milestone, those characters that are the Black Heritage creators that created those characters. So very cool. Lots of neat stuff. The TV series, a lot of renewals. which is kind of cool as well. So lots of cool stuff coming there. And the last one, Charlie, that I thought was a cool announcement, Superman's motto, Charlie, what is it?
Up and away. Truth, justice, and the American way. I'm spitballing here. I'm not
correct. You would be correct with the last one. Up and away, faster than speeding bullet. He has quite a few, right? The Man of Steel, lots of things. They have made a change. That slogan started from the 40s, basically as part of radio serials, not part in the comics. It was part of the radio serials where Truth, Justice, and the American way. Well, in the 40s, what was happening, Charlie? A lot of communism, a lot of Nazism. Well, communism came later, but Nazism, a lot of being proud of America and protecting America, isolationism, really. So they don this Truth, Justice, and American way. It's finally going away. They've got a new motto for Superman, and I love it. Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
Right, which is very Star Trek-y. That is what that series is about, looking forward to the future of humanity. Tomorrow's always going to be a better day. There's other things beyond. So, yeah, Truth, Justice, and the American way. Well, that would make some red hats unhappy, but we don't need to talk about that.
Well, he protects all Earth, not just America.
Oh, right.
He's a citizen of Earth. Yeah.
He's a citizen of Earth, exactly. But he's a naturalized citizen of Earth because he's an alien. So yeah, that is really, and that's a gorgeous picture of Superman too.
It is very, very
I
cool
like that.
picture.
Is this Richard Trenholm? Is he the artist?
I do not know, but I'm sure we can dig that up. But this is, and he was also known as the Man of Tomorrow. So it all goes together. If anybody, this is probably a Fox News article already, and I would just say, guys, let it go. Let it go.
Exactly.
It is a character that was created by Jewish men. Were victimized by nationalism.
Exactly correct. So that's pretty super cool. What's not super cool, or maybe it is we have a very confusing title for the 5th installment of Scream, which is called Scream. So yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is kind of the thing now, right, Charlie? I mean, you want to really essentially reboot something. You rarely ever say like Scream parenthetical something or colon something.
Well, part something was the kind of the leitmotif, the way it was in the past. However, we're going to talk in the Thunderdome about Halloween, which was interesting because there was a movie in 1978. There was a string of sequels which wended its way to all this different stuff. All of that was thrown out when Halloween Again came out in 2018. It was just called Halloween Again. Halloween 2018 is a 40th
It wasn't called Halloween Again.
Halloweener. But yeah, I mean, those other Halloween movies had all these different plot points, and there was even a reboot of that by Rob Zombie. I think the early aughts. It was all just absolutely thrown in the bin. Where this is a continuation. You've got Neve Campbell back as Sydney. You've got Courtney Cox. Her face scares me. Back as was it Gail Weathers? Gail, I was going to call her
Gail Weathers. Yes.
Gail Huggins, and then Dewey, who is the other isn't he? Oh God,
David Arquette.
He's an Arquette.
And he was married to Courtney Cox.
Right, but no longer. So you got those 3 original characters back. 3.5 characters, like I said, because Courtney Cox's new face is a 4th character. Oh, you've been jammed. I'm sorry. Sorry, Courtney Cox. I know. Don't come after me.
Be nice.
Don't send Bruce Springsteen after me, please.
We do not look the same as we used to. That's all I will say. Yes,
I know.
Let's be kind.
And I'm super okay with.
She's probably she's got to be in her mid-50s. So I mean, you know what? Not bad for someone in their mid-50s. Because she was in Dancing in the Dark video, Charlie. Remember that?
I will remember because I just said it.
In the He-Man movie. How about that one?
That's right. With Robert Duncan McNeil, who also looks his age. Very much looks his age if you see him. So,
exactly.
So anyway, nothing earth-shattering about this film. But, again, what's earth-shattering about a horror film? There's slashing. There's, I'm trying to remember in the original Scream film, the killer was 2 guys. It was Matthew Lillard, and it was one of the Phoenixes, wasn't it? No, it was
Skeet Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich, yeah, it was an Ulrich
who looked like it was like Johnny Depp's
Johnny Depp's understudy.
Yeah, he tried to sound like Christian
Slater. Yeah, right. Who was trying to sound like Jack Nicholson? So do that.
Yeah, so it was like a weird. He looked like Johnny Depp, but sounded like Christian Slater.
Right.
Who knew?
He was
But yeah,
throwing out.
this is an odd one. Yeah, to your point, because they did have four, which felt like the next class.
Right.
They brought in younger kids again, and then this is
And
again.
the fourth one was filmed in Michigan back when we had the tax. Boy, that was 10 years ago when we had the tax credit. So they filmed in Metro Detroit, as I recall.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the point now where the first Scream, I don't think cell phones were really a thing when we were in college. So that I remember when that movie launched. So now you're in the modern era, like that we saw in the trailer. Like there was just there was an app to lock and unlock her house. She kept on trying to hit it, and I'm like, man, technology is going to screw us over, isn't it?
Right. Oh, we're all in so much trouble. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad news, man.
The heat is on, though, man. Horror is hot. It's making tons of money. So why not?
Why not, indeed? So, well, cool. And again, it has a January release, which again, you and I were talking last week. It's like, why can't they crank? Why are these all in January? There, I mean, it could be this. There's only four Fridays, or sometimes the occasional fifth in October. So, I don't think they got. They probably got to slug it out. Because they don't really want to overload it. Because you know how it is with the movies. If you don't hit it in the first week, your chance of making any money past that first week is pretty rare. Or having like this giant like word of mouth comeback, which is not going to happen for a horror movie, I'll bet. So,
yeah, I'm happy though with a new movie in January versus like nothing coming out until March.
February, March when you get a Marvel movie typically. Speaking of Marvel movies, and this is the upside of Marvel news today, because baby, is there a downside? But we're getting actor Will Poulter, who is in We're the Millers, when he had a prosthetic wiener when he got stung by bees. That's all I'll remember of the guy.
I skipped that one, so I will skip it again.
Well, which is what I'm imagining was prosthetic. It was very Dirk Diggler. But anyway, The Maze Runner, which I unfortunately did skip, and Midsommar, which Rich has told us about, is like, oh my God, you got to see it. It's so crazy. And it's this like weird summertime pagan sacrifice movie. So anyway.
Yeah, it was like a pseudo sequel to The Wicker Man, apparently.
Oh yeah, it does sound like that. But so he's been cast as Adam Warlock, which was really leaned on in the post-credit scenes of Guardians Volume 2, and is a classic character in the pantheon of cosmic Marvel. Played very big in the Infinity Gauntlet series in the early '90s, which is what brought Thanos back, and obviously gave us the Infinity Gauntlet, which gave us the films. So this is pretty sweet. I like this. This is one of the few is this like one of like two Marvel movies we're getting next year, or everything got reshuffled around? Because there was, and again, we don't have a link to it, but there was big breaking news that bunch of Marvel films were getting shoved, and maybe we ought to find a link while we're talking about it.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now as you describe who Adam Warlock is.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, Adam Warlock is, oh God, now you're going to put me to the test. Well, Adam Warlock was being grown in a pod. He's a pod person, at least in the parlance of the MCU. But yeah, he was being developed by the Sovereign, the Golden people that that basically the Guardians screwed over in the film by stealing their arbulary batteries or something. That is not what they're called. So they went after him with all the little video game pods and stuff, and it didn't work out, and they tried to attack him inside the ego's brain, and it was a whole thing. Okay, so I've tried to fluff the audience for a minute. Did you get me that link yet?
Yeah, wasn't he called him as well?
Maybe so.
That was his name before he was Adam Warlock. Essentially, he was reborn, and that's where he is part of the Soul Stone, I believe. Like that is the soul of the Soul Stone. Yeah, it's a very weird concept, but he's very powerful. And yeah, he was part of that Infinity, along with Pip, the weird troll, and before Drax looked like Drax.
Right. And I read in reading the Infinity Gauntlet, which I did like 3 years ago because we were going to talk about it. There was a scene in that first issue where 3 random people died in a car crash, and then the spirit of Thanos, Pip the troll, and I think Gamora inhabited the bodies of these 3 rednecks, and then they came back to life. It was a whole thing.
Very strange.
It was a whole weird thing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I have the link, Charlie. So I have the link up, and I will tell you that yes, Marvel today announced, and actually Disney itself released a bunch of new release dates, which is very odd. But at this point, Doctor Strange is delayed until May 6th, 2022. Okay. Thor: Love and Thunder is out to July 8th. Black Panther is November 11th. Wow, so that is only 3 Marvel movies in 2022, where originally we were going to get 4. The one that is pushed out is Marvel's. So the next Captain Marvel movie is coming out February 17th.
Oh, that's a very early Marvel day because March. No, that's not true. Black Panther came out. Did it come out in February?
It was a February movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is on part of that. But yeah, we got Ant-Man, the Quantumania, not starring the Who, coming going from February to July. An untitled Marvel film for July went poof. An untitled Marvel film for October went poof.
I'm gonna guess that's Blade. What do you think? An October Marvel movie?
A November movie got moved from November to November. And then Indiana Jones, which is also a Disney / Paramount / Lucasfilm, whatever the hell you want to call it, delayed 11 months. Let's hope, and again, I love you, Harrison Ford, but let's hope that they just go ahead and film it. And then, God forbid, Harrison Ford gets into some other horrific accident that we actually get to see this film. Because, oh my goodness, it's just, and so I posted a link to this effect. And I think it was one of our frequent contributors at SFU, Mandalorian, commented that there was a writer strike that could be affecting this. And I don't know if that's alluded.
Well, there's a crew strike. So it's basically a union strike. Okay. That they're the ones that do all the heavy moving, the labor and stuff. And they were supposed to they thought they had it solved and it's still going back. But yeah, the writer strike of the early, I think that's not happening anymore.
Okay, gotcha. So you know what? We'll all be fine. We still have all the MCU television programming does not seem to be affected. We're all enjoying that. And again, you can go back and watch all the other movies, which is what most people do anyway, if your name is not Todd Extra.
Well, I would lie, Charlie. That strike would hit all filmed media. So it would impact TV as well. So yeah, that could be the next axe that drops.
Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. So anyway, you know what? We'll all ostensibly still be here, hopefully. So, practice good health. And then you can be around to see all the next Marvel productions. So,
absolutely.
Thinking of looking at things that might have gotten the axe, and this is a bummer. And I told my wife this, I think, right before we watched the show this morning, because it's a Monday show. FX on Hulu, which is apparently a thing now, because nobody has cable, has decided not to renew Y: The Last Man for a second season. And I don't know. I think we're on episode 7 or 8. I don't know how many episodes it has.
They said there was going to be 3 more, so I think 10.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. You didn't watch this week, I assume, because it's just
no. I'm a little behind, but I've watched the first 2. Well, I've watched the first 2, and I'm like, I watched the first 2. I'm watching more. I liked where it ended because I'm like, that's different than the actual comics. So I'm like, that's cool.
That is super cool. But anyway, I'm enjoying the show. I mean, we've talked about before, obviously great concept. Every living thing on Earth with a Y chromosome dies with the exception of a guy and his monkey, which is not a euphemism. But it's cool, and it's oh my God. If anybody ever told you that the problem on Earth is men, the problem on Earth is people, because the women left behind, some of them are not so great. I will simply tell you this as the show progresses, that it gets pretty nasty. Actress Missy Pyle comes on as a character named Roxanne. She's not a very nice lady. So you will see, think about the governor from The Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yes.
Very similar.
Charlie, I would say if you don't get extra seasons, it's an excellent story. I would read the comic. It's set. It's same creators, same illustrators, 75 issues, beginning and end story. It's fantastic. It's not like The Walking Dead where it goes on way too long for its own.
Yeah, well, that's the show.
And I think it's on DC Universe Infinite. If not, it may be on Comixology 1 and 2. I'll find it for you.
I might dig it. 75 issues is, if you get on a tear and you're reading on it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, there's storylines like in a trade. I mean, it's just like you have this this story is 8 issues, this story is X, but
arcs. Yeah, basically a story arc. So anyway, we're really enjoying the show. And again, FX gave it a whack, and I don't know if they really say blah blah why. I don't know if
I think they're going to try to shop it around. And it's very weird, and I know Disney is trying to. This is a Disney-owned thing, so Yeah, so it's very weird. I wish this would have just gone to Hulu specifically because FX is a weird network where I don't know who watches cable anymore to get it.
Well, yeah,
So
that was my. You know what, Todd? You know who watches cable? All your friends on the Cord Cutter website. That's you.
yeah, that website is getting, or that website, no, that Facebook group is getting very weird. Facebook groups are just getting weird. So yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
It's true. So anyway, let's all send our thoughts and prayers, as we say on Facebook, to why the last man, getting saved, because I would like to see the show come back or
Absolutely.
survive.
Amazon, you're our only hope. They saved a lot of shows. Save this one too.
I know. Well, what I'm hoping for next is that we do not get the Uber X rates when we call an Uber to get us to our next destination. That would be the Geek Easy, where we can enjoy a beverage and talk about things we are enjoying this week. So let me pull out my phone, punch it on up, and let's get out of here.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy. The cover band's playing. Drinks are poured. And we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Charlie, a series that I said I would finally watch, and I still haven't, but my local radio station talks about, they do recaps of a lot of TV series and stuff.
Oh.
And they were talking about this. And he called it, because he's the main guy, his name's Jason. He does a syndicated talk show. It's called The Jason Show from here. It's a Fox syndicated show. It's very funny, pop culture stuff. He dubbed this one, My Gay Babies. Because apparently there's a lot of babies in this show.
Gabies sounds like scabies.
Gay alien babies.
Gay alien babies. Ga babies.
Yes.
I'm enjoying this season of American Horror Story, which April and I have watched it from the beginning. This is season 10. Maybe we did. I don't know, because we haven't been together that long. So I guess we haven't watched it together from the beginning, but pretty close. They did something weird. They had kind of the weird pseudo vampire arc was the first. It was, I've talked about it already on the show. It was set in like a little sleepy New England town in the wintertime, blah, blah. It was very much like Stephen King Shining, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that ended after 6 or 7 episodes. And now we're into the back half, as it were, of season 10 of American Horror Story, where it's about friggin' aliens. Well, it starts kind of the early 1940s, out in New Mexico. And a ship shows up, and what the aliens do in this case is they inhabit a humanoid body in order to communicate with other humanoids. And then when they're done with that body, they might let it go, or they might make the head explode. That happens a lot.
Like, do they die when they do that?
No, they piece out of that body and the head blows up.
Oh, that's their exit plan.
But it's not a requirement, because one of the main characters of the season, and again, the season is told in present time, and then it's told in the late 40s, in the 1950s, and then in the 1960s. And the through character in the flashbacks or the past set is Ike Eisenhower, played by what I get more and more people tell me it look like, played by Neil McDonough, who is apparently my celebrity doppelganger.
Sure.
So I am all about that. I have new appreciation for Ike Eisenhower because he goes through a lot. And they also have Dick Nixon as a character. He's a total dick too. So it's very apt. But no, you get Ike, you get Mamie, who is played by Sarah Paulson, who's one of the regular cast members. Nixon. You get Jack Kennedy, you get Marilyn Monroe. So it has this through line about the aliens in this deal that they set up. And then we jump forward to the part that you were referring to, the gay babies. You have, in modern day, summer break in California, you have a quartet of friends, a gay couple, male. You have 2 women who are not a couple. That are just on break, and they're like, let's go out and hang out in the desert or whatever, and we'll have a sleepover and do drugs and have fun. And then they get abducted by aliens, and then they wake up in a compound with other human beings. Don't know why they're there, but they're also our 4 characters are pregnant, including the gay characters. And I'm just not going to spoil anymore. It goes totally crazy from there. So, Todd, yes, gay babies, go watch that shit, because it's highly entertaining. It's incredibly gory, lots of exploding heads. You've got a robot sex machine. and there's just a lot of different shit going on. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't even know what to say anymore. You've covered so many topics, Charlie. I'm like,
Well,
where is this show going?
It's me coming back to sell the sizzle, but not the steak. Whoops, I lost
man.
I keep
Oh
losing
man,
my
oh
little
man.
guy. Yeah.
I swear show is like, for every good season, there's like 2 seasons just like, what are they thinking? But
this is very much a what are they thinking kind of season. I will give you that.
Got it.
But we're enjoying it. But yeah, is there an end game in sight? Probably not. But yeah, no, it's definitely nutty. So secondly, and we didn't even get to talk about this on Code 47 this week because I welcomed a temporary co-host. That would be Paul Moderman, who is a cohort of Rich's. Rich is on vacation. But because Paul has not been watching Lower Decks, we just kind of dropped it. So even though I did watch it, and Paul and I had a great episode, I encourage you to tune in. Paul pioneered kind of an idea for a segment called Charlie the Star Trek Sherpa, where I gave him 2 great episodes of either Voyager or Deep Space Nine, of which he has a very passing familiarity. I gave him 2 great ones and 1 really bad one. And then I just let him talk and ask me questions and give his thoughts. And Paul's a very thoughtful, smart guy. He's a wonderful podcaster. Love working with him. So please tune into the episode.
Is that like Russian roulette? I'm giving you 3 episodes. 1 will kill you.
I think he's, I haven't heard from him today, but I think he's still alive. But now you're making me think I should give him a call because I'm scared. I hope it didn't kill him.
It's like The Ring, or maybe, the Cursed Star Trek episode.
7 days after. So. But anyway, the season 2 finale of Lower Decks. This has been a really lopsided season. And Todd, I know you've not been. Have you not been watching at all? You kind of dumped it. You didn't get.
I'm not even done with the first season.
Yeah, I mean, the first season I found enjoyable. The second season, which was broken down by Rich and Aaron and myself over on Code 47 week by week, has really been all over the place. It's really gone from Star Trek, we're having fun, and there's some Easter eggs, into Star Trek, but it's Family Guy crossed with Rick and Morty. Which is ironic because it's the Rick and Morty guy. And it's just not really been hitting the notes. This final episode was kind of interesting. They took, I think they took a break from the awfulness of naked holodeck programs, which was something a couple of episodes back, and just put a nice spin on actual character development. So there's the development between the captain and Beckett Mariner, who's her daughter, and how they fight, and this had something to do with some resolution around that, and then fishing in some ongoing plot lines with the Packlids, which were a throwaway race from TNG that really didn't need to be brought back. It was a capper to a season that hasn't been so stellar, but it did end on a worthy cliffhanger, which, I mean, I guess the first season kind of did too, but this was a little bit higher stakes. So I enjoyed it, Todd, but would I tell you honestly, keep watching it? Probably not. As someone who's a quasi-casual Star Trek fan, I think that you could probably find things you would enjoy watching more than this, to be honest.
It's a shame. I mean, they probably could have gone a little bit more Futurama or Simpsons versus like the hard, edgy stuff.
Right. It could have been fun humor instead of gross out humor, and they went with a lot of gross out humor. So it was an okay episode in a bad season, but I'm kind of glad it's over. And in just 10 days' time, we're getting a new show, which is another animated program geared towards kids called Star Trek Prodigy, which I'm really looking forward to talking about. I'll be actually talking about it here because I'll still be on with Paul, and again, Paul and I have this 4-episode stint where we're not touching that. So I will be bringing that news to you right here, a little Star Trek Extra.
I will check that one out because it just seems like that one has a lot of promise to do something different because it looks to be very different.
I agree. So anyway, that's it for me. What do you got going on?
Yeah, going to animation again. I saw this announced and I'm like, this could be interesting. And that's Aquaman, King of Atlantis. It's on HBO Max. This one is a goofy take on Aquaman. Kind of pseudo related to the Aquaman movie. We start open with Aquaman. They just refer to him as Aquaman. They don't say like Arthur. So it's just Aquaman, King Aquaman is what they call him. And it's kind of goofy. Thomas Lennon plays Volko, the basically the advisor.
Oh,
so
yeah,
kind of goofy.
the flunky. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
kind of goofy. Ocean Master just shows up again. He goes, "I want to do trial by combat," and Aquaman's like, "Do I have to? Is this how it goes?" I don't want to. He goes, "Okay, Ocean Master is king of Atlantis." Like, what? And he hits him over this trident, and he's like, "Aquaman is king of Atlantis." Just kind of goofy, just really goofy. Definitely appropriate for kids.
Yeah, it's anime. So yeah,
it feels like Adventure Time, kind of like a cartoon, like Cartoon Network type of thing, where it's just goofy and weird. The animation style is a little bit off. Aquaman doesn't really look like the Aquaman but he has elements of Aquaman. But definitely feels more lighthearted and kiddie friendly, which I just was not digging it that much. I'm waiting for the hook. I'm waiting for something funny to happen. And like I said, there were some things that were goofy little jokes, but I liked my favorite animated take on Aquaman is still Batman the Brave and the Bold. The Aquaman in there was so bombastic, and he sung, and I just loved that take, and I thought that was going to be more of this, and it doesn't feel that way. It kind of the voice of Aquaman sounded kind of like, I'm going to blank on his name, not Ron Burgundy, Ron from The Office. Ron Swanson.
Oh, that's Parks and Rec.
Yes. Oh, sorry, not The Office.
Nick Offerman.
Yeah, Ron Swanson. But yeah, he kind of sounded like that, but not exactly. So I'm not sure because Nick Offerman does a lot of voice acting. So yeah. So but yeah, it's this said like book one. So I'm not sure how. And it was 45 minutes too. That was like an odd length for an animated like show. It should be like 20 minutes.
Well, I was gonna. Was it a one and done? Was it like a special, or was it?
I don't think so. The way they said, like the way they introduced it, said like chapter 1 or book 1.
Oh, so it's like ongoing. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. So I don't know who it's really for, but the tone made me feel it's more for kids, kind of that goofy Cartoon Network humor.
I got it.
Yeah. So check it out if you want. It's on HBO Max. It's there.
Nice.
Your son might like it. I don't know. It's just that weird, like there's a weird age group, and he might like it.
Yeah, I'll toss it at him. He's here this weekend, so we'll give it a stab.
Perfect. So the thing though that I thought was interesting, and this was almost a pick for our Shocktober, Charlie, is a movie called Black Sunday. It's from 1960. It is considered one of the Italian horror classics, and the director, I'm looking for his name, he's a very famous director.
Is that Roman Polanski?
No, not Italian. I'm gonna find his name really quick. I'm gonna blank on it. Mario Bava is the name of the.
Yes, rolls off the tongue. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah, and this was a very unique film. It definitely. It almost felt like an MST3K type of movie you'd watch with it, because that's kind of how we did this. We were invited over to friends. Chris has introduced me to some new friends from her writer groups, and just really wonderful people, both authors. They had a bunch of people over at their house. They're big geeks. They actually had a projector. We were going to watch the movie outside, but it was going to rain. So then we came inside. Just all their friends were having fun. They dressed up in costumes. We all just had a good time. And we all treated this kind of like MST3K. We made goofy comments about it. But just definitely a weird movie set like in 1800s, where these gentlemen are traversing the countryside for a weird country, Monrovia, I think was the name of the country, which totally doesn't exist. And they stumble upon a cemetery. Somebody gets pricked by blood, and they basically resurrect a witch who the hijinks just ensue from there. It's a really odd movie, fun, but like the main woman looks like a sexy version of Marianne from Gilligan's Island. There's like zombies kind of, but not really. It's weird, but it was goofy fun. So if you're looking for something a little bit on the lighter side of horror, that's more of has that aesthetic of like that nice, really cool Hammer House effect, check out Black Sunday. It's also called The Death Mask. But yeah, you can see the people, it's dubbed. So it just really just comes off as really hokey.
My! I will take your word for it. That is, after The Wicker Man, I'm cautious.
There was no singing numbers, Charlie, in this one. At least.
I'm cautious going back to some of these weird movies. I don't know, man. But anyway, all right, we're bringing that to a close. Speaking of things that we're going to have a lot of feelings about, we're going to move on to the Thunderdome to face the mutants down one by one in the land down under, to give them a topic to be amused. So let's get on that budget plane. Let's get on that JetBlue flight to Australia and get on down to the Thunderdome. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
We're sitting in the Thunderdome, where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week... Oh, I didn't say thank you, Tina. I'll do that right now. Thank you, Tina.
She knows. And as far as to be entertained, I think that might be beyond our ability to satisfy that requirement this week. Because, Todd, what are we talking about this week?
Well, we are talking about the sequel to Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills. I believe this movie was designed to come out in 2021. I can't remember. COVID times are weird. But this movie did come out last Friday. Also launched in theaters and on Peacock Plus, Premium, whatever you want to call it.
Peacock, baby. It's Peacock. It's Peacock, Jenna Baloney.
Yes. So, yeah, this was essentially a direct sequel to that last movie. Takes place like a second after that last movie ends.
It's one big mash of a movie, frankly.
Yes. And this was directed by the same director, Danny McBride. So it looks like the same team. Scott Teams, Danny McBride again was involved with this.
And that's Danny McBride, the actor, I'm assuming, or potentially.
Yeah, so he does a lot of like writing and like producing too. So not uncommon. But the cast was, Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Annie Matichak, Will Patton, Thomas Mann, Anthony Michael Hall. Surprise, that was kind of nice. Kyle Richards, Nancy Stevens, Charles Cyphers. And the cool part was a lot of these characters were based on characters from the previous Halloween films, which is funny. Yeah. Or the original Halloween film, I should say.
Right. Film, because again, as I mentioned, we were talking a little bit earlier, Halloween is when, again, the film came out in 1978. There were a multitude of sequels, including a relaunch, a complete reboot that happened in the 40s or in between. Literally all of it tossed in the bin. So that the Halloween 2018 film was the sequel, making this then the third film. But as we had mentioned, it's so contiguous with the first film that it's really it's really one narrative throughway. It's one evening, pretty much, from one to the next. So I'll read this recap and then we can just go ape shit. Moments after the burning in the basement, the end of the third film, Laurie Strode, her daughter Karen, and her granddaughter Allison are driven to the hospital while they see firefighters rushing to stop the fire in the basement in which Michael Myers is trapped, much to the trio's horror. At the house, one of the firefighters falls into the basement where he is killed brutally by Michael, huge surprise, who's not dead, who steals his axe and kills the others and leaves the burning house.
That was in the trailer too, so it's not even a spoiler. But there will be spoilers, folks, for going forward with this movie. So clearly, if you saw it, if you didn't, watch it on Peacock Premium Plus, advanced.com, and then come back and listen to the rest.
Exactly correct. So we'll leave a pause. Okay, we're back from the pause. Todd, where do we even get started with this deal?
Yeah, this was a weird mix of a movie. So like we said, it does continue, but then as soon as we get our main characters back to the hospital to be, cared for, we're then moved over to a bar where we essentially are introduced to a lot of characters, which was a very weird introduction. They're like at a bar, there's karaoke and things. And then Michael Anthony Hall gets up like he's going to sing karaoke and he says, just want to tell everyone to remember the victims of Michael Myers. So I'm like, this is like a weird, reunion of victims.
And the thing is, people are really, really riveted by what this guy is saying. You know what I mean? So yeah, in a bar where just prior to that, there was, my wife and I are trying to watch a talent show. Can you guys keep it down? Like everything from the jump in this was very George Lucas-y level of dialogue where it's just like, people don't act or talk like this. They spent the whole movie saying, chanting like evil dies tonight, and chanting and just, oh my God, it just, nothing felt like relatable in this. It was a lack of relatability, to be perfectly honest with you, in the human characters, which was ostensibly supposed to be everyone except for Michael, because that is how the film ends, is simply revealed that Michael is he's the embodiment of evil.
Immortal, can't be killed.
You can't be killed by conventional means, and yeah, so that's the capper to the film. But even the people within the film, led obviously by Anthony Michael Hall, who looks okay. He's in his 50s. He looks like a 50-year-old guy. And again, a lot of the supporting cast are the older versions of the kids that you saw in the first film. So, who have been aged up 40 years, not the same actors, if I'm not mistaken. But again, nobody can, I don't know what to say, because Anthony Michael Hall is an actor who's done a lot of different stuff. I don't know if he's great or he's not great. I don't even really have an opinion on that. And there weren't any other actors in this that really jumped out. I mean, Will Patton was in it. He was the sheriff, but he was mostly in a hospital bed because he was mortally wounded in the first part of this, in the 2018 film. And then of course, you have Jamie Lee Curtis, who's just chewing scenery the whole time, just saying things like you and your daughter should not have to run from this. Like stuff that you just,
yeah.
She's just she screams all her dialogue. It's dialogue screaming. And it
felt like it was like I said, this is the same creative team who brought the last one together, and it feels like a completely different. It's like the B tier, the sequel that you got made on a shoestring budget,
right?
Different director, actors who had nothing going on. So hey, I need a paycheck,
right?
The last movie was huge.
Yeah, and it just really seems like, and again, we'll go on to talk about this, but you're right. It seems like it really belongs on Peacock, which is where it ended up. It should definitely. This is like it should be a direct to video on the USA Network. It's that low. You're right. It's like all those direct-to-video sequels of The Lion King or The Little Mermaid over on Disney. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not going to get it's not going to get a theatrical release. It's not going to be the same people, but we're keeping the story going to see if we can't hook somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, keep the franchise alive. But I mean, that's the thing that was weird, because the last movie did very well, so I would think they would build upon it, and that's why I'm just befuddled, because the characters didn't, like you said, Charlie. They just seemed off. They seemed unrealistic. I mean, and even like the deaths didn't seem that interesting. There was just nothing that stood out that was like, wow, that really stood apart. And I was thinking about like that one group that we met at the bar, and then we had the couple, the doctor and the nurse, and It was funny because she's like, I'm going to use my gun, and I know how to use a gun. She comes out there, can't hit anything, and then Michael hits her hand, and she caps herself in the skull. I'm like, what? It was like, is this a comedy? It was like that movie. Remember that one movie we saw, the comedy where the people that kept on killing themselves because the two rednecks? It felt like that.
Oh my God. It just, you're right. There's nothing about this that was, like I said, I couldn't relate to them as human beings. Like, because they just didn't behave in a fashion that seemed like people. So it was just really, really, really weird.
It wasn't intense. It didn't have the intensity of the first one.
Right.
You had these people that were like, they're going to go after Michael, like you said. They got a mob together, essentially, to go after them. And every time they got the mob together, what did they do? They separated.
Right. Well, and the part is, and this was like right in the middle where I had to go take a whiz. So I took a bathroom break when the other escaped convict got to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, babe, I got to go take a whiz. So I'll be back. And I ran out, and I was, I had to walk down the long hall. So maybe I was gone for like 2 or 3 minutes. And I get back, and they're chasing through the hospital. I'm like, babe, what is going on? She's like, we were both shrugging our shoulders. So like, oh, they chased him up, and then the guy jumps out the window, and I lean over to her, and I'm like, and it was a crowded theater. I mean, this movie, and again, that's how we'll cap this. This movie did huge money over the weekend. I think it set a record. It was definitely, if not, it was certainly close to it. But I'm like, what is going on here? She says, I don't know if this is supposed to illustrate that the mob is out of control, and that's why they chased this crazy guy through the hospital. And it was just, it was almost exhausting to watch.
It was almost like they wanted to say, we we basically we bought into the hysteria and we became the monsters, which sure, but it was so heavy-handed, and it's like the guy didn't even look the same as Michael. He was small, stringy guy, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
one thing I did notice is right before he jumped, they did a close up on his face. Biggest nose hairs I've ever seen on a human being.
Yes,
it was unbelievable.
Charlie, the things you notice in films.
I just again and again, when it's on a 70-foot screen or whatever it is, it's like, oh my god, unbelievable. So yeah, in the end, you're right. Mike, everybody dies except the daughter. The granddaughter lives, but her friend's dad, then Anthony Michael Hall and everybody in the mob. Lori and Will Patton, the sheriff, are in the hospital, and so they live. A couple of people still at the house live. But the Karen, the daughter, is killed by Michael. That
was the dumbest thing in the world, Charlie.
Well, and then
she walks back into the house,
and how did Michael even get back into the house? Because there's a phalanx of cops in front of the house. Did he just run around back and sneak through the cellar or something? It was the end of it. The end of it was like, okay, maybe Michael kills everybody and then he just takes off for greener pastures. But does he kill Judy Greer and then come downstairs and kill everybody else? No, I got to set it up for the sequel. Oh my God, dude. It was just.
I kept on saying, you got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
This is without a doubt one of not only the worst horror movies I've seen in recent memory. And again, April and I see a lot of them, and we see the Blumhouse films, and some of them are on par with what you would expect from a horror film. Like what was I was going to say This Is Us. What was the film where it was was it
Us.
called Us? Us.
It was just called Us. Yeah.
And it was. I don't know if that was Jordan Peele or certainly Get Out, which was.
It was Jordan Peele. Yeah. It was his follow up. Yeah.
Those were fantastic. Great films. This was not only, as I said, one of the worst horror films I've ever seen, but definitely one of the worst films I've seen in recent memory. This was just. It had zero direction. There was zero narrative through line. There was nothing going on. It was all over the place. This would be a 0 stars for me. Do not recommend. Just skip it. Just skip it.
I know a lot of people like this because I was hearing the comments, and I don't know. I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes right now just to really see how this performed.
Yeah,
so, 39%. So the critics didn't love it, but the audience gave it a 71.
Well, and again, much like with Venom, which came out a couple of weeks beforehand, absolutely dominated the box office. And again, we were in a crowded theater to see that one, and April and I both looked at each other and said, "This is garbage. Oh my God." And this film was worse. And I think it did. Yeah. So this did, I think, a $55 million take over the weekend, which was above expectations. And again, we're working on post-corona numbers, but going back to the Venom, Let There Be Carnage, they're expecting that to break 300 million, and still hasn't been released in China. It says Venom has not been released in China, which is partially why we even have a sequel to the movie in the first place.
Yeah, so it was big in China. But Venom had a 60% Rotten Tomatoes versus Halloween Kills 39%. So, and a better audience score for Venom too. So I don't know.
I would agree, that if you're kind of picking the lesser of the two evils, Venom was better, because this was, I was scratching my head at every other turn at this film. It was absolutely nothing to redeem it. Of course, the original Halloween from '78, John Carpenter film, is a classic. It's amazing. This is, like I said, it's, and like you said, it's the same writer, same director. So where did they go awry with this deal?
So I don't know. And what I'm trying to figure out, this whole thing is, so is this designed to be like a trilogy? Like this is the middle film and then there's going to be another film? Because as they set it up, you basically can't kill Michael. And I'm like, and then the daughter, like you said, granddaughter's alive, grandma's still alive. So I don't know.
Left some connective tissue, but to ask the question, is this designed to be a trilogy? I don't think there's any design at all. It seems very much throwing, I don't want to say throwing shit against the wall, but it's like slapping paint against the canvas and seeing what dribbles down. There does not seem to be any narrative throughway. They're not trying to get, it's not a beginning, middle, and an end. It's like there was a beginning, made a lot of money. Let's do this thing, and this thing, and let's write the script in a weekend, and let's do some cocaine while we're doing it. It was just nothing.
Well, Charlie, if we do get a trilogy out of this, I want Mike Myers, like the actor, the funny guy. I want him to basically be the son of Donald Pleasance, the doctor from the first one, and I want him to look like Dr. Evil and to show up to avenge his dad. I want it. I want it, Charlie.
Because we'll probably at that time we'll be compelled to talk about this the same way we've talked about the other two films. We'll see it, but yes, I want Donald Pleasance's character Jr. to be the return of Dr. Evil.
Mike Myers and Michael. Well, everybody's wanted to happen. Mike Myers versus Mike Myers, right? Michael versus Mike. Yes, everybody's wanted it, Charlie.
You know what? It's better than Freddy versus Jason. You know it.
Yes. One last story, Charlie, before we finish, and we'll give our review. But there is a funny story about this. Originally, the director wanted Tommy, who's played by Anthony Michael Hall, to be played by Paul Rudd, which I'm like, sure, why not?
And did Paul Rudd just basically say, I'm going to be in Ghostbusters?
Exactly. Woo! Woo! Saved by the Bell. Yes. So, Charlie, there we go. We finished this movie. I subscribed to Peacock for this, so there's a month left of that subscription. So check out Saved by the Bell and make it worth my while.
Make it worth your. Oh, it's my job to make it worth your while.
Yes.
I think you're
Earn my subscription. Earn my subscription.
You're barking up the wrong tree, babe. It's not gonna happen. Oh my God. Well, with that, let's rate this deal. This may be the first film in a long time that I've had to rate with a negative integer. This is probably like a -2 for me. It's below the slash.
So I can't go like negative because it's like at that point I'm like, I don't know.
I'm gonna did it.
Charlie, like a bad tip, I'm gonna leave a penny. So I'm gonna leave a 1.
Okay.
It's an insult.
I will revise up to make it a half penny. So I'm going to give it a 0.5. A penny. A hey penny will do. Leave it a turkey. Oh,
a Canadian penny, even better, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly. So yes, I'm giving this a 0.5. Oh, well, with that, we bring the program to a merciful close. Friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
$1 billion.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.